Good evening, everyone. I think I have a slightly easier job than Maryam Shadid. So I will do my best to deliver for you this evening, not from the South Pole, but from right here at this lectern. Ambassadors, partners and donors, fellow members of the board, colleagues, ARIJians, Rawan, it's a delight to be here. Thank you, Rawan, and your incredible team for organizing what I thought was a really outstanding conference, but also for the work that you do all year long. Thank you to all our donors, our supporters, who help make this work possible and who help ARIJ grow and become even better. In 2 years, even in the middle of a pandemic, our funding has increased considerably in tandem with the number of funding partners, and we thank you for your trust and your continued support. Thank you as well to my inspiring fellow board members who all excel in their field and give their time to this important organization and who humor me and my very strict timekeeping in our board meetings, which we will have tomorrow. But thank you most of all to all of you who participated, who spoke, who traveled far to be here, and who attended this conference, journalists, fact-checkers, podcasters, trailblazers, courageous writers and producers who go out there every day on a mission to get the facts, tell the story, and in your own way, change the world. You are the reason ARIJ exists, and ARIJ supports the work you do. I saw a lot of courage on stage over the last few days, and it really warms my heart. Because it does take courage today to do this job, and you are fearless despite the intimidation, harassment, violence, lawsuits, imprisonment, and unfortunately, in some cases, death and murder, like in the case of Shireen Abu Akleh, shot in cold blood and broad daylight, and whom we honored on the first day, but also Jamal Khashoggi, murdered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, or Daphne Caruana Galizia, assassinated in Malta in 2017 with a car bomb for investigating corruption. Unfortunately, violence against journalists is certainly not a specialty of our region. It exists everywhere, as we heard from ambassadors who spoke just before me. I don't want to scare you. Please don't take unnecessary risks. You don't need to be in danger to do a good story. But equally, be bold. Don't shy away from the difficult questions. We need and must continue to seek truth to power in this region, where the media landscape is somewhat bleak and journalism standards have regressed for many reasons. Every year, my fellow board members and Rawan and her team, we debate together the theme for next year's conference. And this year's theme imposed itself as self-evident, as a necessary rallying cry, defending independent media. Because independent media everywhere and independent journalists face immense challenges, from the Philippines to Mexico to the US and, of course, our own region. Defending independent media is an absolute necessity today, and it's important to defend it not only from governments that want to control information and shape the narrative, but also from the corporate and finance world, which seek to buy influence, but also as well from the purveyors of disinformation online and on all media platforms. Even inflation is a threat. The economic pressures are enormous today. We are seeing layoffs everywhere in the media world, and it will affect the budget of donors. At ARIJ, we defend independent media by being ARIJ and doing what we do best, training new generations of journalists and empowering them by giving them the tools, the know-how to dig into the story and tell it to the world. At the heart of our mission is sometimes an inherent tension which keeps us on our toes, that and the 22 Arab governments breathing down our neck. That tension is about what drives the organization, training versus publishing. We do both. We train you, we want to train you. We want to train every single journalist, aspiring journalist, every single aspiring investigative journalist who wants to be published. We are first and foremost about training and capacity building, and then empowering you to publish your best work in media outlets in this region and abroad. We see many cooperations also with media outlets outside of the Arab world. And that's a constant balance which we try to strike as best as we can, while always keeping our focus on quality, not quantity. The stories that will win awards later tonight are a testament to that. I'm not privy to the details, but we'll hear them soon. As are some of our big stories in cooperation with other outlets, like the investigation earlier this year with NBC in the US, The Washington Post, and ICIJ on the abuse of migrant workers on US bases, military bases in the Gulf. I've always believed that journalism is a public service. That's why I became a journalist, and I made that decision at the age of 13, growing up in Beirut during the Civil War, because I wanted to tell our story to the world. And we do what we do to shed light, to hold accountable, to get answers, and to make a difference, to have an impact. But it's hard work, day in, day out, because a big story about corruption does not always result in the sacking of corrupt officials. Relentless reporting about the war in Syria and its atrocities did not result in an end to the conflict. And there are days when I too feel dejected. But please, don't give up. Because every story makes a difference. Every reader, every viewer who can learn from your story, who can come away thinking, now I feel heard, or now I understand, or now I can see that others are fighting the same battle as me. Every single one of them is a force multiplier. They go out into the world not only better informed, but also empowered with new knowledge that can help them make a difference or inspire them to take action. I am immensely proud of the work we do at ARIJ, of the work you all do, and the sacrifices you make to tell the story and bring us the facts. So onwards and upwards, thank you all. Thank you to all who support us, and see you next year.